A Cornell study determined that President Trump is the largest source of misinformation surrounding the coronavirus, and now he himself has become infected with the virus. We now know that there are actually 24 COVID cases linked to the White House's coronavirus cluster, and we learned just yesterday that most of the Joint Chiefs of Staff are now quarantining after Admiral Charles Ray, the Vice Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, tested positive. It just seems to me that this has become a grave matter of national security. You're second in line to the presidency. How concerned should we be?
Well, I think we should be concerned because of the virus and its viciousness, but also because of the denial that the president is in, saying things like, don't worry about it, don't be afraid of it, and all that, because people have lost their loved ones. As mother of 5 and grandmother of 9, I worry so much about my children. But I think about children across the country who have lost their parents, their siblings, their grandparents, their friends in school and the rest to this virus. And there's something wrong about the disconnect between what the president's responsibilities are and what's happening. That's why I think that there has to be an intervention in terms of people around him to say, for the good of the country, so that no more people get infected and die, we have to have a plan that recognizes the danger, and the danger struck right into the Oval Office. To the President of the United States, we pray for him, for his family, for his workforce, but we also pray for the over 200,000 people who died and their families, and the 7.5 million people who are infected. From my standpoint, as the second in line, God willing, none of that ever plays in. I am getting tested, of course, the tests have been good news, as the doctor said, good news, continue to be tested. But it is something that is just bigger than the executive suite at the White House and the succession. I think that tonight in the debate, it should be all about health care, health care, health care. The president said he wanted to stop the negotiations so the Senate could focus solely on nominating, addressing the nomination for the Supreme Court, so the person could be there to overturn the Affordable Care Act. It should be about health care in terms of Mike Pence being the head of the task force on the coronavirus. Really? What level of success does he have to offer in that regard?
Exactly.
Except the success of denial. Yeah.
Right.
So in any case, I'm taking precautions, but again, we're hoping and praying that everybody in line ahead of me gets well very soon, and that we all vote health on 4 weeks from now. 4 weeks from now, minus 1 day, everybody makes a vote for their health.
Okay, so Nancy, I'm dreaming of the day when we call, say, President Nancy Pelosi. I think that sounds really good. But let's go. The polls are showing that Biden is ahead in key swing states. It's very encouraging in many ways, Pennsylvania, et cetera. But I'm still worried that they could steal this election. I know that the Russians are still involved. Trump's own Department of Homeland Security just released a report warning that Russia is a key threat to the election. Now, we knew this going into 2016, too, and we saw how that turned out. This is why I'm not counting my chickens at all. I'm still nervous. People have to vote, and we have to win in a landslide. How concerned are you about that?
Well, I'm concerned, but I don't my motto is, we don't agonize, we organize. And I have no doubt that the president, in typical fashion, will lie, cheat, and steal to win this election. So we are prepared for that. I'm sorry to have to say that, by dint of being Speaker of the House and that he's President of the United States. But that is the reality. He's trying to dismantle the Postal Service to undermine vote by mail. He's welcoming, inviting practically the Russian interference into our elections. The voter suppression and intimidation that he is bragging about practically that they are engaged in is really a shame in terms of our Constitution and our sacred right to vote. But again, we're ready. We're ready, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that no matter how he tries to declare victory or undermine the Electoral College or try to win in the House, as he's bragging now he's going to win in the House, I will assure you of this. Free and fair election, Joe Biden will be inaugurated, and Kamala Harris inaugurated President and Vice President of the United States on January 20th, 2021.
Well, I'm thrilled to hear you said it, because over the last few days, you know, we've seen court decisions and government orders in states like South Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Texas that could have major effect on voters casting their ballots, both by mail and in person. So I have two questions. What's your advice to people so they are confident that their vote is and will count? And why do you think people feel they have to steal the election? Is it because they have no plans to move the country forward? I'll take the first answer as to what people should do from you. What should people do?
Well, I think that people should have a plan to vote, and to vote early if possible. They can go to iwillvote.com. That will tell them how they can vote by mail if they choose that, or how they can safely vote in person in their particular state, because different states have different rules. And then, of course, they can find out if they are registered currently, appropriately, and if not, how they can do so. It's also important to get the guidance to make sure you have followed all the instructions, because they will have tens of thousands of lawyers out there to say you didn't sign it right, or this doesn't look like your signature. They're out there to undermine the election. And why? Because they know they cannot win on the up and up. People are up,
there you go.
They understand what is at stake in this election, our very democracy.
Please.
And that's why they're doing this.
You have to just keep coming back whenever you have like a couple of minutes. We know you're busy right now, but you know, at some point, come back and talk with us some more. It's always a pleasure. Our thanks to Speaker Nancy Pelosi.